Hello. Oh my god, is it working? Oh, yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Give me a sec, give me a sec, give me a sec. Oh my god. This is so exciting. Uh Hello everyone. I am just going to quickly check my to see if this is working and happening. Yeah, this is in fact working and happening. So give me a second. Give me a second. Okay. Give me a second. I will get this sorted out. I just need to check if this sounds okay. I do not trust technology because I have had so many issues with this. Even yesterday's Silk Song stream, like being okay is like a miracle to me. Silk Song stream, like yeah, okay, it's fine. So yesterday's Silk Song stream going fine is like a big issue. Um, yeah, but today we're so I was planning to do this 2 weeks ago, but I had commitment, let's say, so I couldn't exactly do this. But uh, I had a I wanted to do this. So for anyone that doesn't know, the Amazing Digital Circus, which is by Glitch Productions, came out with a brand new episode. I think like almost a month ago now. It's been a while. But they came out with an episode 6. They all get pew pews. I would say the word, but I'm not sure about like what the demonetization policy is. I'm not monetized right now, but I might get monetized with this stream in the future, so I'm very confused. So what's happening now is that I have 3 clips from the Amazing Digital Circus, and I am fascinated by them. So I kind of want to analyze them for what they are and what's going on. So I'm gonna be checking them out for anyone who wants to know what the clips are. The first one is Jax and Pomni shooting Kinger in the dark. The next one is the conversation between Ragatha and Kinger immediately after that in the submarine room. This is going to be a long one because it has like a lot of subtle acting choices. I don't think I'm going to talk about every single thing, but I just really want to talk about the performance more so on this one, where like how everything happens. And then the last one is Jackson Pomney singing Daisy, Daisy to Zubul. And I'm really excited. I'm really excited for this. So we're just gonna start directly with the first one, Jackson Pomney. Let's see how this goes.
We still need to find out where Nutso went before we can rest easy.
That's cool. So I do like, okay, so here's the thing that I like about this is that Jax's gun typically Jax's gun is here, but typically with guns, like you would try to it makes him feel like he's armed at the ready to go, but the way that he's like casually like waving it around just like that is just like something that is very like he it makes it very clear that like he is not necessarily concerned with who the gun shoots, since Pomni is right next to him, but he's just kind of waving it around interestingly.
We still need to.
I'm actually gonna actually no, I can't mute it. The issue is that my mic is too close to this, so I don't want you guys to hear what I'm like hearing as well. But we're gonna be trying this out. Yeah, I love the curve of Jax's ears. Like, that's such a clean sort of like uh it's also just like such a clean pose. Yeah. It's not the cleanest, but it's like definitely going in interesting directions. Yeah. He's basically just like, we need to find Nutso, which is Kinger. And so here's the interesting part is that when you see Kinger, and this is like one of the last few frames, he's right over here, right? So just think about this. And next, you immediately come here. So you look at Jax's face where he's like not recognizing this. And then because he's blurred a bit more, I think that's just the yeah, he's blurred. The way the camera is, he is very like blurry. So he's very blurry. So your eye immediately goes to the cleanest thing in the shot. So you go from left all the way to here. And it's interesting because they were going from right to left. Interesting. Hold on. I need to figure out my thoughts here. Yeah. So it's going from right to left. They were going from right to left. And then you could feel like the camera switch. And Pomni has a great reaction here. Ooh, some. Hold on. There's some really nice. So she. It's kind of forcing her to look in that direction. Here's the thing, she's looking forward and then all of a sudden she looks to her right. But the things that like her eyes are like good anticipation of like, oh, here's a like a little movement before we go into the main thing. It's like 7 frames here. And then she immediately goes down in this like arc. Around. God, I'm not sketch. Come on, bestie. Into the next sketch. Into the next sketch. So we're gonna look at this. Yeah, so she has this like arc that she goes down in, and her face like squashes. Typically, her face is like very round, like a very good sphere. But here it like goes from this to like this, so it squashes her face down to give that sense of like volume and like surprise, and then it stretches again. I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, that's the stretch part. Is there a way to go to the next? Oh, there it is. But yeah, and then she's like stretched upwards, so her face instead of it being very round, it's contrasting with the squash, so it makes it look like, so it gives that bounce feeling of like shock. I'll just play the actual clip itself. Yeah, it's very quick, very subtle, but like, and your eye doesn't really catch it, but it's there. And I love this pose of like her legs being down, being like this way, where she's like caught off guard. She has to interesting silhouette choice here to have this. But also this is a really good silhouette to like use for her gun and things like that. Like the way that her pose is, and like her, I could talk so much about like the design of all of these characters and why they're so great. But just the fact I should actually change this color to green. Yeah, this way you can actually see the green instead of like being confused with Pomni's yellow. But no, it's just so interesting how like there's a choice here to have this specific like this specific what's it called, like section of Pomni here, like the negative space to be this specific way. And I like that. I like that a lot. And her eyes are so focused. Let's see what Jax was doing in this second. He So Pomni sees Kinger, and in a flash, Jax. Yeah, Jax moves forward, but only when Pomni like squashes down does Jax react. And he continues the momentum he was at when he was moving forward. But then once Pomni stops, his eyes go like super wide and he moves backwards. That's interesting. And there's some really nice shoulder work for him too. I think this is like secondary action or like follow. No, I think it's follow through. I get confused between them sometimes, but I think this is follow through where like his arms were moving, but now I think this is secondary action, but like so the arms are secondary action, but there's a very slight pull in his shoulders when he goes up. So yeah, it's very subtle, but like his shoulders are kind of here. Hold on. Erase that. His shoulders are kind of like here-ish, and then kind of goes back a bit. Let me just erase this very quickly. So it's like it's a very subtle like upward movement of his shoulders to like brace himself. It's very cool how they do it. And they hold here to show like they hold on this. They hold this for like a few frames. Let me see. Okay, so they have a lot of like follow through that happens. Because Pomni stops here. Pomni stops here. Like Pomni is stopped, but like her jingles, her like hair, I think it is. I usually very confused with like stylistic body parts, especially with characters that aren't like typically human. But there's a really nice follow through with her hair and hat, the bells of her hat. It's really cool. I think Jax has a similar thing where like his ears follow through. So like yeah, so his ears go like this, but they reverse the curve that they're on. They reverse the curve that they're on when Jax is moving back, which is typically what happens. Like if you have this, and then this, and then this, it's kind of a way to like move back the curve and things like that. It's so interesting. I like how Pomni is also like pointing her gun down. That's a way to be like, she is a lot more cautious with this weapon than Jax is, because Jax was just like waving it around a bit earlier, and he was like, dude, oh, so cool. I also gotta say, Jack's mouth movements, like the fact that Jax doesn't have an open mouth except for when he's like doing a comedic gag of like what was he? We'll see it later on in like clip 3. But like, oh my god, this is so cool. Like, I have so many thoughts about his like the way his mouth moves, and also just like his eyes. Like, God, I never noticed them until now. That's so cool. I I don't want to just be like, that's so cool. They're doing this thing, but yeah. So they're like, oh, we need to find Kinger. So they hold. So they do the follow through. They do the follow through and settle. So they wait until. So that's so this is like the overshoot for Pomni's jingles or stuff like that, and then it settles here. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7. Yeah. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 7. Yeah, so they hold on it for 7 frames. And this the thumbnail of this video, everybody. They make it really interesting. So just like this frames Kinger in a very nice way. Like doors are very good for framing people because like you have all of this like negative hold on, let me change it a bit. You have like all of this negative space that like makes this a lot more cinematic, and then the focal point is like here. But this Kinger is what draws your eyes. Let me actually see. Hold on. So we were initially here, and then around here is where Pomni's face was on screen in the last shot. So, whoops. No sync sketch. I do not want to get more features. But the thing is that Pomni, let me just erase this very quickly because I want to make sure that like I have enough space. So just the fact that like this is a consideration between shots that like your audience's eye has to tell everything. So because Pomni's face was here in the last shot, your eyes immediately moved to Jax and then to Kinger. So you see, you don't really think about Pomni a lot here because like we just saw her reaction. So now we're waiting for Jax's reaction and also just like Kinger to realize what's going on. I don't know if Kinger's entirely there. He usually isn't. But this is just a really cool thing about how eye lines are so important because we've seen Pomni's reaction. So Pomni is not like important in the shot. But Kinger and Jax are. I'm gonna try and check this out. Yeah, and they're just static. That's the best part. It's just that like everyone's frozen in time for like a solid few seconds. It's so cool. So yeah, because Pomni was here on screen, then we immediately go to Jackson. Actually, hold on. I want to check something. So she was here. Hold on. This is the center of Pomni. This is the center of Pomni. So that's actually where she was. That's like the center of her face in the last shot. I'll just make a note here. Yeah, that's about the center. So it's interesting because it's in line with Kinger's eyes, which I think that's actually so cool that like Kinger's eyes are like the direction from the point that we're looking at Pomni. And then we pass by Jax. We pass by Jax's neck and then Kinger. And the reason why we're drawn to Kinger is because of like this box framing, this like framing that the door has on him. And he has a very clean line of action, like silhouette. A clean line of action, very clean silhouette. Oh God, this is so cool. I was like, why is this? We haven't even gotten to the part that I really love. I'm just like stunned here. Okay, but they're all PNGs for a solid uh, for a solid 30 seconds or something. Jax has his ears up, which like I feel. I'm actually gonna go to the next. Yeah, so Jax has his ears up, which feels like a call to attention. Um, because like before it was like very casual and like you could feel that like there's this sort of casualness with like the curves and the arcs of his body, but here they're apart and standing at attention like a dog. It's so cool. This is a really cool, this is a very like basic pose, but I like what they do with the arm here, because the arm, let me actually reduce the yeah, the width. So the arm here is really cool because it allows for like a little negative space here. And this negative space just gives him like a very nice pose, even though it's not like super line of action and it's very like straight. It's very straight, but also like Jax kind of has like a bit of a forward leaning just based on like his pose. So like it's more of like a very very subtle like C curve. And then they also have like his hand there, but with the gun, like the gun is adding a lot more to the silhouette. This is so fascinating. Okay. I know that I just keep saying wow, I'm so impressed, but like wow, I like Glitch. This has been like Glitch's year. I feel like with Knights of Guinevere coming out and also like Murder Drones, I think the show is doing a lot well here, and I'm just very impressed by everything that's happening. Okay, so we're gonna be moving forward and just like it's interesting. Is this a golden ratio? I don't think so. No, it's not a golden ratio, because golden ratio is like you start from here and then it swirls out or something like that. But we're not doing that. Pomni has an interesting pose here. Her hat gives a nice like silhouette. And just her pose, I don't know if this matches her pose before. Actually, no, it does. The thing is that like her legs aren't inward like I would expect, like how it was in the previous shot. But that's fine. That's fine. It's meant for like visual clarity rather than continuity. Like it doesn't have to be 100% like the same. Especially because they're PNGs, so there's no like issue with continuity. Pomni has like this really nice like curve, and then her gun like, and then it connects back to Jax. I think I would have like left a little bit of a gap here, but I think just the way the camera is, or like put Jax's foot, put the gun a bit further forward, so like the barrel overlaps with her foot, overlaps with Jax's foot, so that like it's not a tangent. But I'm not the one who made Amazing Digital Circus, and I'm not the one who made the best episode of the show. So yeah, and also they have like a little bit of her like hair coming out to like make the silhouette even more clear. Like the way that they handle negative space is really cool. And just I also just like the line of Kinger's like robe telling you everything you need to know about his line of action. It's just so cool. Like there's a very clear like design language here, which I absolutely adore. So it's kind of like a backward C curve. Oh, so cool. Let's keep going. Wow, they're holding on this for a while. Okay, that's a lot of frames. Hold on, let me see how many. So, uh, at minimum, 25 frames for this pause, which I think is good. I think it's good. Like a solid second of like of like recognition that both of them understand what's going on, and the fact that like they're both PNGs here. Like, okay, look, like I just shifted frames, and the only difference is Kinger. Like Kinger moves just slightly to the point where like you can barely notice it. Let's see here. Let's see here. So I have this shot like ingrained into my brain. Kinger says, "I'm right behind you, aren't I?" I was actually just hear the dialogue. I apologize for the noise.
I'm right behind you, aren't I?
It's really cool because it's like it's a version of he's right behind me, isn't he? It's like Kinger doesn't have all of his chess pieces in tow in his head, so that's a nice. I'm trying to find a nice way to say this, but he is very clearly like, yeah. So he moves forward. So so his like he moves forward as like an anticipation of like his dialogue, and then like he goes back and he dips a bit like an arc. So like he starts here, and then he kind of rotates very subtly this way, and then he stops rotating and then just pushes back, and then he rotates this way. Just so interesting. Okay, hold on. Let's see what the acting choices are. I'm
right.
So it's kind of like he's shaking his head of being like, oh, I'm right behind you, aren't I? So he's just like, oh no.
Behind you, aren't I?
Behind you, aren't I? Yeah, so
Behind you.
So they kind of pull him back. This is kind of like an anticipation on its own. But like, yeah, so he tilts his head a bit to the right to as like anticipation for his movement. And then this is his overshoot, and then he settles. And then he like settles. Yeah, so there's like a very slight movement between his anticipation, overshoot, and settle. That just makes it feel a lot more natural. But now we're getting to the fun part. Hold on. And also his eye. Hold on. I need to talk about his eyes real quick. The way he's looking, it is very much like if these were normalized, they would be like this way. Kind of like cross-eyed in a way. But this feels like a lot more natural and typical. I think his right eye is basically looking at Pomni. So it's more like, and then like that. So it does feel a bit off because of like how far this eye is in comparison to this eye. But like just because of the way his eyes are designed, like they're at like a diagonal to each other. it just makes it he feels like he's looking at you directly, and because he has like no eyelids, which is like we need to talk. We do not need to talk about that. No, I'm canceling this discussion. But we are but we are gonna just try to, yeah. And then he like when he's settling in, his eye is like there's a lot of like room here for his eye, like the whites of his eye. But then as he moves forward, his eye is like moving along with the and with the movement of his dialogue. So it makes it feel so his other eye is looking directly at Pomni, but his other eye is like going cross-eye. Is like not cross-eye, but like it's being like a lazy eye. So it's like going all the way to the right. So it really makes it feel like not all the lights are on in there. I think that's so cool. His pose also just like gives me so much life here. So cool, so cool. And then he settles back here as he goes in the opposite direction. So okay, here's where Kinger between like we said, the eye focal point is on the focal point is we focus on him. He's right in the center of the screen. So let's just do this. We come here. Our focus next is on Jax's neck. And it's a Dutch angle, which is like it's diagonal. Like a Dutch angle is meant to make you feel like, oh, this is like not I don't want to say balance. It makes you feel like a confrontation. Like this happens a lot, and it's supposed to make you feel uneasy because you're not balanced properly. Like the camera is not straight, as all cameras shouldn't be. But the camera isn't directly straight, of like left to right. Hold on, Sorry, I just realized that I should probably post this on Blue Sky that I'm streaming. I told myself I won't forget to post on Blue Sky that I'm streaming, but apparently I did. Give me one quick second. God, okay. Get shareable link, Blue Sky. New post. Post. Okay, I feel a lot better now. Sorry about that. We're just gonna ignore that. But a Dutch angle is meant to feel like, oh, this is like something that's imbalanced, or like it's supposed to cause like tension in your audience visually. Interesting. But they focus here on Jack's neck. But also just like I also think that like the way Kinger's animation ends and moves this way, so it guides you to move your eyes like anti-clockwise, so you're still kind of continuing this motion. That's interesting. That's so fun. Yeah, Pomni, and then so it leads you from Jax into Pomni, which the more that I'm analyzing, oops, Sorry, I accidentally bumped my everything. The more I'm analyzing this, the more fun I'm having. Like, oh my god, this is so cool. Let's see here. So it leads you to Jax's neck and immediately takes you to Pomni. Jax is like, it makes sense that Pomni's staring at him and Jax is like not turned yet. Let's see. I love how, oh, that's cool. It's such a cool shot. Hold on. We gotta analyze this part. I'm going to try to spend as little time on this as possible. So Pomni reacts first and puts her gun up. There's a cool, like, I can't really see any anticipation, but I can definitely see like some overshoot and settle here with her eyebrows. I think there's some squash and stretch going on as well. But we'll take a look at that. I need to hydrate. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. So Pomni's eyebrows are just kind of like here. And then they go down here. And then she moves back. So she doesn't really have an anticipation, but she moves down, up, and then back again. Yeah, the way that like she's moving down. There's a very subtle squash. I do like how, okay, so when Pomni moves, as soon as the gun, like there's an immediate like flame fire shot. I love the color of this, like just like the shape and everything. It just makes it feel like so, like there's a lot of triangles here, and triangles are like pointy. So oftentimes when like you have someone that's either villainous or dangerous, typically they will have like triangles in them. Like a lot of Disney villains have triangles in them because like triangles are such a dangerous shape. But what I really like here is just like as soon as Pomni fires, it takes her a second. So this is very clearly supposed to be like her rest pose, but it makes you feel the recoil of the gun as she holds it with both hands. And you can also feel it here where like there's a bit of a delay because when something happens, there's like a few frames where like you move backwards. So that's why Pomni here like doesn't move as soon as the gun is fired, but like she feels the recoil of it. So it's supposed to like, so like the gun, it's like counter action, opposing action, where like the gun is moving this way, but Pomni is moving forwards to give that sense of like balance and momentum. And it's very subtle with like the eyebrows, her eyes like squashing and stretching, her head slightly tilting. I also think there's like a very slight overshoot and settle with her like hair stuff. There's very like slight movement with her hair. So before we go into Kinger being amazing, let's look at Jax. So Jax has clean, like not clean, but like interesting silhouette here. his arms, like arm placements are usually like some of the trickiest stuff, but I do like how they rotated his head enough to where there's like negative space between his ears. That way it just makes it clear that like, oh, we're seeing both his ears at all times. Like we're seeing the fundamental like silhouette of his character and not just like having a block. But at the same time, only one eye is showing. So that way it like makes it a lot cleaner so that we're not seeing like a bit of his other eye. This way it just looks like, okay, one eye is there. And they have a really nice like curve here. Yeah, some really nice arm poses. This one especially, where it's just like this very specific angle, and they kind of lean into the sort of like arc of this. Like Pomni shoots. I do like how they have a solid like 1, 2, 3, 4. So they have 4 frames where Jax, where 1, 2, 3, 4, where Jax is looking at Kinger and has the gun pointed. So they hold on this because Jax hasn't seen Kinger, doesn't know where to aim. So he takes these like slight fractions of seconds to find his target visually and settle on it and then shoot. It's not like Pomni. I think Pomni had like, as soon as he starts moving, it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, barely 6. Like Pomni barely had her gun like settled in before she started shooting. But Jax like fully settled his gun. Pretty much settled his gun fully before he like shot at it. I think that's super cool. And just like the way that the gun is like responding to his like the way he's like shooting it. And also just like his recoil, like it, like the cool thing is that like you can feel it, you can see it first in his hand, and then it moves to his arm. You can see his hand moves to his arm, and then his like head moves backwards with the recoil. And his head moves backwards with the recoil. That's so. I mean, it's basic, but like it's these small details that make animation feel alive. Sorry. I keep forgetting Kinger's next. Oh my god. Okay, so I think that so where is the attention drawn to? I need to find the focal point again before we go to the next shot. So we first started with Pomni and her gun, and then so we started with Pomni, she was here, and then we moved to her gun, and then Jax's head was really close by, so we immediately go to him, and then we go to his gun. And then we go back to this fire, this gunfire. So then our attention is back on Jax's face, because it was really close by. And then our eyes are drawn to this again, and then bounce here. Thank you for that. Sorry. And then we got this, and then we're back at Jax's face. And that's the cool part, is that we're on Jax's face, and then bam, Kinger. This is like a very subtle thing, but like this is something that a lot of people miss out on. It's that like where the audience's eye is between shots, you need to see like where the next shot is leading into. If, for example, shot A ended here and shot B starts here, like your audience is gonna be so confused. Like, what are you doing? Because like that's just how visual language goes. That you're supposed to look at specific points. What else? Let's rock and roll, baby. So I love Kinger. We're actually gonna switch over to the yellow color. I think that might help here. So Kinger is our central focus here. You can see he has a like very blurry sort of color, but like you can see that, oh god, this pose, god, this pose is so good. He has this kind of like, is it an S curve? I think it's a backwards S curve. Yeah, it's a backwards S curve. And his eyes are like so squashed rather than they're like circles. It's it's so comedic, and it adds to that the fact that like we're laughing at it is just good. And then they kind of like dip him further into the pose. So this is like an extreme here. Let me just. No, I don't want to unlock more features. So we're just gonna do this. So I love this pose. And then they make sure that the gun, like you can tell that he's not good with guns because instead of just firing back, he's just dodging them, which I think is a really fun way for him to go about that. And they kind of hit this next key pose with like, this is like another like it looks very much like a C curve, but it's very subtly like a backwards S curve. I think because of the way his head is, and then Pomni's just leads into the darkness, and oh, that's cool. His hand is here. But it's kind of leading our eye a bit. It's the eye is the anticipation. The hand is the anticipation for his movement like this. He's so weird. I think this is an in-between. I don't think this is the key pose. Yeah, I think this is weirdly the key. And he disappears. He moves backwards into it. And the way that the gunshot is just illuminating his face. And he disappears into the darkness. So you just see like his gun and his face, and then it disappears. And you're just staring at darkness for a few frames. And then okay, so here's something that's really I keep saying the cool thing about it. Everything about this episode's cool. But what they do is that because this is like darkness and like for a few frames you're not seeing anything, they have a singular gunshot here, which drags your attention. And then you look here, and then you move upwards. I think that the gun actually catches your eye. I'm not 100% sure. Because it moves it upwards. So you're looking at Jax. So then you're looking at Jax because he's on the way there. So your eyes like kind of catch it. But I also think this kind of door handle does a lot here too. But that's not important. Then you go from here after the bullet was shot to here, and then you see Pomni. But her face is kind of concealed by the gun a lot more. But the reason why it's so cool is because like as soon as Jax fires, Pomni fires, and then they come to a rest. And they still hold their pose. Like the pose is like this. It's like another backwards S curve. Pomni, I'm not sure. I think that like the thing about Pomni is that like her face is like here, but her body is tilted. Her body is like tilted this way. I'm really fascinated by that. Yeah. Let's see. So you look at the gunshot from Pomni's gun. She gets recoil. And I think her like body takes her body takes a step as well. Like even Jax moves forward a bit, but because like you're in the gun and then you're here, you're looking at the only part of Pomni that you can actually see, her eyes. And that's how when she looks up, you look at Jax, and then when you look at Jax, you look at Pomni. So you get this sense of like oh, they they want to do this, and like the sort of like collaboration of it all. And Jack smiles. Pomni is heading in, like because Pomni is tilting forward and heading in. Jax is ready to smile. Pomni is serious. Like she has a bit of a grin, but like for the most bit of a grin, like determined face. It's kind of like more confident and determined, but like Jax's smile here is just pure evil. He moves in. They both move in. With a step forward. I think Pomni has like it's a bit blurry, but I think Pomni has like a little smile here. That's cool. And then as they move forward, you see Jax's hand, but that quickly like disappears into his body. The arm does have a clear silhouette, but the only thing that you can see, which is illuminated in the light, is the gun. And it keeps going on. Like the gun is the central focus of this shot. Right, and then once it goes off like screen and out of sight, the door closes and it becomes dark. There's a cup. Okay, so this is where like your eye is led to you by the guns, and this is the whole reason why I did this. Like everything that I did with this analysis was just preamble to this. So what I really love is like conservation of animation resources. So not a lot of shows can have like every minute be new and like unique, and like not every show can fit to a specific runtime. But what's really cool about this is that so oftentimes they'll try to find ways to cheat or like not use these resources. But the cool part about it is that if you have characters in a dark area, to make them be seen is a very complex task, because when you're trying to make them be seen, you're trying to think about it. So like I don't know if I could pull it up, but Big City Greens had an episode like this where like I think it was Cheap Show, where what's it called, where they just had the entire room in darkness and all they had to animate was the characters' eyes. And so because of the characters' like eyes, you could see who was talking and where they were talking to. But it's something like 3D, that's a lot harder to do because you're gonna have to like do PNG sequences and a lot of compositing work. Like that's tough. And also just like it because it's compositing and not direct, because it's like compositing and not like directly like animation, it makes you feel like, oh, this feels like not as great anymore. Like it becomes very difficult and very hard because like the way the compositing works really well for 2D, but when you're trying to get it done for 3D characters in a 3D environment, that's often a lot trickier. So this is the shot that the sequence that I absolutely love. So you have a few frames of darkness. You're not sure when it's going to be there, but the main thing that catches your eye is the gunfire. And then as soon as the gunfire happens, it illuminates different characters. The main one is Jax here because he's the center of attention. So for the center of attention. But the main thing is that like you're probably looking at the gun and not Jax. But Jax is kind of like an anchor point. I think this has the golden ratio. Yeah, I think this probably does. I would need to fact check that, but honestly, I would not be surprised if that's like golden ratio throughout. But I think that you're still focusing on the gun, which was about here, right? There's still a few frames. Ooh, interesting. Okay. No, I think you're on Jax. Yeah, I get confused a lot between them, but I feel like initially the gun when it's fired, you look at that directly, like right here, you look at the gun. But then as soon as that's done, you look at Jax, and then you're like, your eyes are trying to find like something to anchor onto. And then that's when they have this gun, and they have this specific this being at the center of the screen because it's getting rolled, I think. Yeah. Damn. Sorry if you heard that motorcycle. But it just moves up. So it's like, oh, they're getting ready to do some stuff. And the reason why they have it here is because the like I think they have two frames of darkness, and then at that exact point hits here, and then your eyes move this way to Jax again. And then I know this feels like it's taking a long time, but that's a lot of frames. But because your eyes moved this way, you're now at this edge of the screen. But when you're looking at one uniform thing, you don't look here. Your eyes naturally move towards the center. So that's why by the time it's here, you're looking at this gun again instead of like the barrel of the gun. You're looking straight at the pistol, and then same thing. Like they draw your attention to the center instead of sticking to the right side. So instead, what happens is that you have like a solid 3 or 4 frames before they make an interesting perspective here where Jax shoots and has his like, and the light illuminates here. So at first, so this is like so it moves it here all the way to here, so you can feel the perspective a lot stronger because hold on. Yeah, you can feel the perspective so much stronger because of this, because of the way that they did in the last shot. Or like, and they also kind of hold on. Yeah, they also kind of like guide you upwards like this. It's not exactly, it would technically go like this, but that actually leads you to Pomni and then to Jax, because Jax leads you in. But the problem is that like the gunfire is what catches you, but you're looking in the general vicinity of Pomni by the time like your eyes catch up. And then Kinger gets illuminated here, even though like the main center of attraction is this. It very neatly guides your eye towards Kinger, who has a really nice pose. And his hand and the gun is much closer to the right side of his body than the left, than his left arm, left hand, because like he's leaning into his right, so it makes it feel a lot more interesting. And Pomni, let's see what Pomni does here. Pomni very subtly lifts up her gun to point at Kinger because it got illuminated, and I think she almost got like a direct hit. Like, yeah, she narrowly misses Kinger. If there wasn't like darkness for like these 2 frames, I fully believe she would have hit Kinger. If she was just like a frame or 2 earlier, she would have definitely hit Kinger, and that's some mad accuracy. So Pomni's gun is shot here, and it leads you to Kinger, and then your eyes follow Kinger a bit. So because he's going in this direction, you follow him to here. And because of that, your eye is caught by this next gunfire. This is so funny. Pomni has like this sort of like very squashed face. It's so cool. I'm actually gonna be right back. I'm just gonna grab my charger. Okay, yes, where was I? So Pomni has this cool face, and then I think you can see a bit of Jax here. But like I feel like, hold on. Yeah, Kinger would have hit Pomni. Yeah, Kinger could have hit Pomni if like this place was illuminated, but like also feels like Pomni just barely dodged out of the way, just like Kinger did. And then the first shot goes for Pomni, and the second one goes for Jax, and that's why he ducks. Uh, so he does it again, and he goes in the direction of them both, but like he's accounting for Pomni's height instead of being squashed. Uh, and then he like, and then he tries, and then he, so cool. And then you're kind of like your eye is drawn here because of the ending of the bullet, and then Jax fires again, and tries to anticipate like Kinger moving more towards the right, but he instead moves towards the left. But this gives a shot for Pomni to fire at Kinger this way. So Pomni like does move this way, but because you were so like centrally, because the audience is so like centrally focused on Jax, instead the gunfire from Jax is what makes it interesting. Oh, this shot is so cool. This sequence is so awesome. And then all three of them have their own shots. Let's see what Pomni was thinking. I don't remember when Jax got a second gun. He just kind of did. So Kinger was here, and Jax aimed at him and would have gotten him, but he moved this way. So Pomni's aiming this way again, and then seeing that like Kinger moved this way from the left to the right, and there's like a lot more frames of darkness. So Jax is anticipating Kinger moving a lot more to the left, to the side, while Pomni's aiming for exactly where he was, and then also has a second gun. I'm so confused. And then Pomni is just like, you know what? I'm just gonna aim directly there and not stay in the same position. That's really neat. So, and also just like her pose, like, oh god, her pose is so cool. God, so great. And Jax is just casually moving forward. So neat. We have quite a few frames of darkness here. Let me see, are they saying anything? Yeah, no, there was nothing being said. Just your gun. He's trying to ricochet. That's that's such a power move. The like, because it's like he's trying to aim here, but I there's so many interesting decisions here. I'm so fascinated by this show, by this sequence. Pomni's trying to fire here, so is she trying to ricochet too? Because Kinger was over here last time we saw them, and then Jax did his ricochet to try and shoot him because he's there. I don't think we can see Kinger right now. Yeah, no, he's not in the frame at all. Oh, yeah, this is the cool part. So, the thing with action sequences is that if your characters are shooting for too long, in this case, your audience might get like, oh, okay, they're like stuck. So you kind of need breakpoints where like the characters, where the audience can like inhale everything that's happened, because like this is quite a sequence with like mostly darkness and mostly just like random shots of light. So they have this moment where so let's see. Oh, I didn't see this part where like Jax shoots here and then there. And then I think you're hold on, let me see. Yeah, no. Okay, so I sometimes you have to play it to see what happens, but like the last thing that you really feel is that like you're looking at this part. You're looking at this part and then going down to this new light source that Kinger has. It makes you feel like, oh, duck. Like, like this is around where a head would be, but because he's like so low in the shot in this like lower third, it makes him feel like he's ducking and hiding for cover, because of the way that the bullet leads him to. Very nice like pose here. And just like focus on the light. His eyes are a bit too close for my liking, but you know what? It's Kinger. We'll allow it. And also just like the shadow here. Oh, that's so cool. So this is like a moment for him to like reload his bullets. But the thing is that this doesn't last long. It doesn't last long because like he has a light source in a dark room. Of course, everyone's gonna notice where he is. So he squashes, and so his eyes like have a huge squash like before he goes, and then there's like a bit of settle. It's still squashed to be like, oh, but it's a really cool pose, and like the way the gun is, and just like, oh, I have so many nice things to say. And this adds like a nice, like, the pillar adds a sense of like, oh, I get the feeling. I understand like logistically in the hallway where we are. I do find this a bit concerning because like, okay, Kinger is on the left and then this pillar is on the right. But if we come here, uh was he facing backwards? Yeah, no, he was facing backwards. So we were looking at him from a different side, which is, I don't know how I feel about that, but you know what? We'll accept it. So he was here, and then you go up here. It's kind of like, okay, interesting. So you see the light here, and then immediately like Pomni shoots it. So it kind of helps you guide your eye in such a way that like both Kinger and the flash gun are like very close to one another, so you can catch them both at the same time, and then like your eye leads directly to Pomni. And the light goes out once again, and this is where we get back into the freneticness of the fight. And because your eyes, hold on, because your eye leads back to Pomni, which was here about, that's almost exactly where the bullet hits. And it hits this Rubik's Cube off to give this sense of like motion, even with Pomni barely moving. It gives that sort of freneticness. So we had the bullet, and then Pomni's here, so our eyes are focusing here. But I feel like, yes, I knew it. But because we're here, and our eyes are like, it's a good sense of direction since we automatically go to the center of the screen. So it leads us here, but then because this comes up, we automatically like, instead of going this way, we go this way. And then it leads us back up to Jax, who's very clearly, because Jax stands out because in these colors of like, there's a lot of yellows here and like very warm colors that are just very present. Jax stands out because he is like he has like red, his eyes are yellow, but like his purple, like his color combo just like makes it so much more unique. He jumps up, really cool like pose here. I can't really like, nice arms, everything. He has his two guns like out. That's so cool. I know I keep saying everything's so cool in this show. But the main focus is on Jax now, so it's about here. Interesting. So it leads you to here. So it leads you this way. You see the person, the statue's face, and then go directly to the chest. Let me see what they were planning for. Oh, there's this. Hold on. I must have missed that. So you're looking at Jax. And then you see the teapot. So you're kind of like drawn to this very specific like movement. And that also like guides your eye right here to the center because you were here. That you're looking for something that stands out. And this part of the teapot stands out. So it leads you down right to this part of where the bullet hits. And then your eye like can't help but focus back up here because it's like, whew. Actually, let me play it. Oh, that's very close to one another. So actually coming this way and then immediately seeing this, it just gives this, it amps up the like amount. Let's see. It just amps up like the pace of the fight. So we're about here. Let's see. Yes. So we immediately go to Kinger. So that's exactly where the next bullet hit. Oh my goodness. Okay. And then our eyes immediately try to catch up to the next character in perspective. So we're still in Kinger. But we do feel Jax's movements here. Hold on, I need to analyze this pose. Oh, that's such a good pose. Oh my god, I love this pose. Oh, so good. Yeah, we're still having our focus be on Jax, but Kinger is the main like point of origin. So we last saw him here, and now Jax has kind of taken over the part, and you kind of see his leg. Oh, just like god damn it, like the ears, like, and you mainly focus on like these things, and also just like Kinger's head turn. He has like this. Oh, so cool. Yeah, and just like the curve here. Oh, the curve is so cool. Like these poses are like so neat. I just, oh, god damn it, so good. You don't really recognize Pomni, but like she's doing a lot of stuff here. Jax is doing a lot more of the flashy stuff. So because your central line of focus was here, and then he goes down here, you're kind of expecting something to move here. But then that's when Pomni comes in, and you immediately get your eye like ricocheted back to the top left corner. And then it goes back to darkness. And your eyes will naturally move towards the center. So you see like Jax's firing. And then what happens here is that because... Ooh, that was a cool way to do it. You see Jax firing with 2 shots. And then your eyes move this way. And that's where the cube is. Oh my god, that's so cool. Like, that's such a neat little background detail that like the cube is just on the ground. So your main focus is here and Jax is moving this way. So it also kind of leads your eye to here. And the hearts appear, like the gunshot and the heart happens at the same time. So that kind of like anticipate to give you like a visual cue of where to look. And then you see like the lines of the bullets in this like sequence are so cool because it guides you to where you should look. And I do like that Jax is kind of surprised here Like his expression makes that very clear. Like, oh my god. Typically his like, I'll try and draw it here. So like his eyes. Let's pretend that he has like these normal eyes. His eyes are kind of like this a lot, and then like. So like when he's looking, his eyes are like more without inside out, like the border of his eyes are covering his pupils, I would say. But like here there's a lot of like negative space between his pupils and the actual eye itself, so it makes it feel a lot more like, I don't know, it gives that sense of surprise, even though like Jax doesn't really do that. And then the one heart guides you, like these two, and like kind of complementing Pomni's color scheme, kind of like make you think, oh, that's fine. The fact that it's gray catches your attention, especially because like it moves up, and there's like little lines here, like action lines, to give the sense of like a shake, which is really cool. So last time you were looking about here. So where else? Yeah, this is just like another visual thing. Let's actually just play the sequence. Yeah, so they give the whoop sorry in complete darkness. That's why there was so many frames in between. And then you see like, and then because like he said whoops sorry, you went back to Jax and you saw his ears, especially because like this action, so it kind of like takes your eye from here, kind of takes your eye from here to here, and then down here, and then back to Jax again. Then Pomni has a shot which guides you, which leads you to her, which leads you here and then back to her, and then leads you further into Jax. It's just a very clean line. I don't want to say line of action because that implies like a pose. I'm trying to say line of action in terms of like guiding your perspective eye or something. Like, okay, there's a couple more gunshots before the thing I thought would happen. So your eye was here, and then you're naturally gonna. Oh no! It actually covers the whole thing. Like your eye was about like here, but now it's covered. Now the gunshots are directly there, so you see both Pomni and Jack. You see both this, and then these are like secondary targets for your eyes to like ground you in where it is. So because the gunshot was here, Kinger moves backwards to kind of like, but also like you have enough visual space here to like give you a sense of where he is. It's a very quick thing. It's not, but this has enough negative space here for you to like realize that, oh, I know where they are. And then your eye was guided here, and it's still in the center. So you look at Kinger again. So they're keeping it to the center of the screen to kind of maintain this like tension of like, oh, this fight is getting faster and faster and faster. So everyone is getting closer to the camera. Like the camera is getting right up in their face. Lots of like gunshots right in the like. It's just amping up the intensity, and this gives a very clear moment of like Kinger's expressions. That's really cool. Yeah, Ricochet super move. So this is the thing that I wanted to. This is like, like everything I just spoke about was really cool, but this is the thing that I'm like curious how it works. Hydrate. So the thing about like how this works is just a like. It's just like he does a ricochet super move, so he shoots one bullet And because this fight has been so intense, you can kind of see it. So it kind of leads here and then bounces off. It bounces, bounces, bounces. It leads you here. And it kind of causes this like disoriented feeling where like everything is, it's bouncing everywhere. And like they have a couple of like this frame, there's like 3 ricochets that should not be happening at the same time because it doesn't make any sense. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, no, these shouldn't make any sense. Like, why there shouldn't be like 3 separate bullets. So they're trying to like give the sense of like, oh, everything is bouncing around, everything's so fast, while not actually having like directly everything move the same way. So just like there's like a few bullets to trick your eyes. But in reality, you the audience only think it's one. But I do like the impact frames here. Let's just quickly analyze them. So like they have these like sparks that come out, and then they like scatter. It's and then they have like a bit of like, oh, we're about to go out, we're almost done, but everything else is still going on. Like here, there's one more going on here, as like grows and scatters, and just like there's so many different movements of this bullet that make absolutely no sense. But it's to give that freneticness and feeling, and no one's talking during this shot because it's like, oh my god, this is like so much stuff happening. It's just like let's see. Let's actually see the full ricochet. So it's supposed to like trick your eye into thinking like, oh my god, it's moving so fast, when in reality it's like multiple different bullets. Yeah, it's a way to trick your eyes so they don't have to like, it's just a nice way to get visual language across. Yeah, so this is something that often happens with animation, is that like you need to, if your characters are in darkness, you need to find a way to like make the audience anticipate that like, oh, so they don't get like flashbanged by light. So they have Jax say this line in order to be like, hey audience, be aware, a light is about to turn on. Because imagine if you were just watching it and it just went, imagine if you were watching it and this happened. It like catches you off guard for a quick second to be like, oh my god, like this is this is not nice to just be caught off guard. So they have that line from Jax to have him be like, hey audience, remember, we're about to turn on the lights, which I think is pretty cool. Okay, so the light turns on. Jax has this like little overshoot and settle. Yeah, so you kind of immediately see the light from here, and then you move downwards. It's a nice like way to draw your eyes. But the thing is that like you're moving this way, and then this way. And so it's like down, down, up, down. So it kind of gives you the full picture of what's going on here. Or is it like, actually, I think it might, hold on. I think it might actually be more like, yeah. Jax has a neat pose. Pomni is like pretty chill. King, King, and then just like his hands, his gun. Like, oh my god, there's so many visual details here that just works so well. And the steam. Oh my god, the steam. Oh god, this is so cool. And they just like blink. They hold on this for a second because like you've just been bounced. You, the audience, have been like visually bouncing around this entire environment within just darkness. So you kind of need a second to chill. But oh, I love this. I love this. And they hold on this for like a bit, and then Jax it's interesting that Jax lets go. And then he like has his arm going in an arc. So it's here, it's here. So it's kind of like that. Not exactly, but kind of. And then he has his arm like his hand like overshoots, and the overshoot of his arm, his hand moving out, is also the anticipation for his hand moving backwards for the high five. And there's like secondary action with a smile, and it like, oh god, his pose, pose. Oh, god, he's so terrible. I love him. And then his like his arm is more of a follow through, because it's like following the direction, and it settles like separately from his body. It's so cool. Up top, and then Pomni squats down like I think this is a counter pose, and then she like squashes, and you hold on this pose for a bit. Oh, that's so nice. Yeah, that's such a neat way where they're like, and they don't like overlap with Kinger's body, so that we have that sort of visual sense. And there's like a lot of negative. Oh god, this was so good, so good. Okay, so we're done with that. Hmm. I'm trying to decide. Do I want? I'm running out of time. I think I overestimated how much time I would need for both of these. I think. God, I just want to play the sequence really quickly.
What a game! Who knew Polly could be such a sharpshooter? These adventures, huh?
Yeah, I think the Ragatha scene is way too long for me to analyze right now. Should I just next stream? No, I'll do the Daisy one. I think the Daisy is so good. So we'll make this like a Pomni and Jax kind of stream. Just to like talk about it. So Kinger goes to the loser's room or whatever with Ragatha. I mean that quite literally because he lost all of his lives. But then Zubul and Gangle were a pair, and then Jax and Pomni get rid of Gangle. And then Zubul's like running to her room to try and like avoid Pomni and Jax. Because like they're the only pair left. These three are the only ones left. So Zubul's running into her room, and because now she's out of the frame, we now just see Pomni and Jax. And we hold on her for a second, be there, and then the door closes. Typically, as a way to like kind of save resources, what shows will do is they'll show a character running, and then as soon as that character is shown running and they're like going through the door, they cut to like the door closing, so they don't show the character like actually at the door like how they did right here. Like Zubul wouldn't be here. Typically the camera would just like pan this way and then show this to kind of save resources and just make it like for a lot more efficient storytelling. Yeah, she doesn't have a gun here, so it's just like showing her arm. But we do immediately get like a picture of Zubul on her room. Jack slides in. I love his pose. It's great. Oh god, Jax. Oh, and they do like a crash zoom. They do like so crash zoom is meant to like move fast into a very quick zoom. So like normally a crash zoom would be more like, okay, let's do this, and then it crashes into Zubul's picture of a door, and it will transition inside. But no, they do like an opposite of a crash zoom, not in terms of like not in terms of like crash zoom will what's it called? not that like crash zoom will words, wow. So but this one is like the opposite of a crash zoom, where like the in terms of the direction, that's what I was looking for, the word direction. It's a crash zoom in terms of like they will look, they instead of like crash zooming in, they are crash zooming out.
You're just gonna hide in your room?
You're just gonna hide in your room. Yeah, let's see here. So so they crash out so that they don't have to spend too much time like going out. So Jax has this sort of like turn for his anticipation of like going down. And his chest hits first, and then his head follows through. And then he like bounces up. So it was like anticipation, overshoot, settle. What I do find interesting here, and if you haven't seen Amazing Digital Circus episode 6, there is something very interesting here. Pomni very clearly has her gun down. So the thing about gun safety is that like you need to make sure that you're not pointing it at your allies, because like, you know, if you point it at your allies, they're probably gonna get shot, because it's a very like difficult thing to do. I've never held a gun before, so I have no idea. This is just what I've observed. But Jax has his gun pointing down towards like Zubal's door. But the thing is that it also could very easily hit Pomni. And the thing is that like at the end of Amazing Digital Circus episode 6, what Jax says is just like, I don't care about you guys. So it just the way that he's like mannerisms with his gun, especially in like let me find it really quickly. Yeah, just the way he was waving his gun around before the like shadow sequence, that is like peak. That is like very clear like foreshadowing to be like, yeah, no, he does not care about these people. Let me just, what's going on? Okay. He does not care about them, and that's fine. There's a bit of like follow through with his ears, which is really nice. So we went here and here. Pomni said coward, and then we're going from here back to Zubul, and we're focusing on this specifically. I think her head, which is very triangular and like has a very clear like shape, catches our eye. But we're watching this moment as like she's trying to figure out what to do. But we're kind of like in this direction, which is where she attaches a lot more like limbs to her body. You can see the like her body moves in reaction to this, but this also like you can also see what the limbs that were attached, how they like overshoot and settle as like follow through with her. Lots of really good close-ups. And then her hand. Yeah. So she has her hand, and then it covers the whole screen, and then it kind of gives this sort of like reveal to cover her whole face. And nice silhouette to be like all of these like angular circles. And I think Zubal's head is just really cool because it gives us this sense of direction towards the left. But we're focusing on like the star here. I don't think she wore that before, so I think that's interesting. It's kind of big sheriff vibes. And then like this is sort of like anticipation for her coming to a rest as so it's kind of like she overshoots, and then her settle leads us to another shot with this. Yeah. So our eyes are kind of guided here, and as she's reaching for it, like mid action, we cut to this shot of Pomni here. And then we see our eyes are captured by Jex's arm moving. He taps Pomni, and Pomni's clearly not expecting it. And you can see like her eye reacts to it in a way when like, because that's the side of her head that the hand is hitting. So of course, so it's just a nice cue to be like, oh, she like has a bit more of a natural reaction to this, even though like the rest of her eyes move. The rest of her like the rest of her head, like her, what is it called? Her blinky eyes, her covers, whatever you call it, her headlights, her eye covers. When they hit, it just makes it just even though they both move in sync with one another. Eyelids, yes, that's the word. When her eye, even though her eyelids move here, they're both in sync with one another right after that. But it just gives this nice like, oh, she has like a very natural reaction to this. Oh god, Jax. So they hold on this a bit for a few frames. Yeah, so his hand is kind of here, and then does it follows the direction of where his arm was. So his arm was kind of like in this direction, so it follows that path and arc, so you're not kind of jarred when it's there. Yeah, that's so cool. I want to take a second for his facial expression and his ears. Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. Just like the way his ears go from. His ears go like this, and then to follow the movement, they have to kind of stay like this, and then they go this way. And then they hit this pose where it's like, yeah, so cool. But this makes the silhouette, his silhouette, a lot more clearer. And then, oh god. And you can kind of see Pomni reacting to it as his like head is moving up and down. They're keeping him in this pose, but they're doing like very subtle turns to like make him feel a lot more, I guess, flat or like in this way, where his pose is hit very specifically. Let's see. I need to hear the song. Yeah. So he sings Daisy, and then Pomni is like seeing what he's doing. I think she's confused a bit. Yeah. So she says, so he says Daisy twice. The first Daisy, Pomni is like, bro, what? What's going on? But by the second one, it's called back to it. So she knows like how to go about this. And so her eyes, like her eyelids blink down to give us anticipation of like, oh, she's about to go. She's about to join him. And also just like when, and also her eyes, when they go, she also bounces down a bit so that it anticipates us for her pushing upwards. Give me your, yeah. And so because our attention has been on Pomni, it's over here, and it's immediately to Gangle. But the thing is that like this immediately pops up, so our eyes catch up just in time. And then a very nice like bit of performance here where like there's a bit of like there's a bit of hang time for the whatever this is to bounce up, and then she grabs it again. It just like, it's a very nice way to transition into what Zubal's doing and just like to catch your eye. And she recognizes this and she's like, she's pissed off, which is so funny. and then your attention is here, and then you immediately come to here because that's where Zubal's head was a second ago. But then you come to this part. Very nice poses. Because it's like they're serenading her, and that's the fun part about it. It's just like it feels like they're serenading her to be like, "Oh, come out, let's be best friends." But in reality, they want to shoot her. God damn it, the show. And just very nice like expressions here. Like Zubul has like a nice eyelash, but this eyelid, this eyelid is doing so much work. And like the very like, and also this sort of like contrast together, because like there's this line in the center of the screen being like the door and the wall, but like her having this sort of like two arms that are leaning this way, like are tilting forward from left to right, and these two here lifting forward from right to left, really makes it like give this sense of balance, even though she's like so ticked off. And that there's like another overshoot and settle, and she's like being really angry. So funny. This one goes off a bit more fun. And then you're kind of here, and it immediately goes to Jax's eyes. Oh my god, that's so nice. I don't want to rush through this, but also I can feel myself fading away. So we will just figure this out. Okay. So because Jax's head was here, and then we can kind of see Pomni's face is kind of here. So you go from here to here with like, you're still looking at Jax mostly, but like you can feel, but you want to like, you instinctively want to like move in the direction where Pomni's face is. And because Jax is in the front, you can see him. Some very nice, like clean silhouette. Like this is not how 3D teeth work, as in like 3D teeth will like, there should be other ones here, for example. But because like they want to give that sort of like flat sort of feeling, they open Jackson's mouth, and his tongue, like his tongue is so clean away from any of the teeth. And then like, because they hold on this, you're able to look at Pomni here for a second. And then Jax, I actually want to see, how did they close his mouth? They just shut it and then immediately transition back into his regular face. Pomni also has some really cool, like, she like goes down, she like anticipates it, and her pose. And you can see that like they're both on the same like visual. The way that this camera is angled makes it really cool of how like the way that they're posed together makes it feel really cool as to like how you can look both at Jax and Pomni immediately at each other without any worries. And also like the way that they transition from Jax's ears being like this C curve to a backward C curve as like a follow through as well is really neat. And they have this really sweet pose, and it kind of breaks up his hands are like yellow, so they kind of break up the monotony of his like outfit, because it's like right at his neck, which is very visually appealing. Then we're in a couple of seconds of darkness, and then we cut to Zubul again, looking for something. And then we see her look at something in the bottom left corner. So then we're back to Jax again, because he's in the foreground. And they bounce up. and they both lean into each other, so they go from here to here. And also just like the way that this happens, Pomni is way too far away from wherever Jax is to make this work like in physical space, but they're not supposed to be acting in physical space. They're cheating to the camera. So you can kind of cheat this way in animation where like the characters are looking at are you give the illusion of the characters looking at each other. And it's like I think Jax has a really fun like kiss shape on his mouth. It's interesting because like usually you would have your character have like all for the love of you. It won't be like how Pomni kind of has where like her lips are kind of like that. And then they do like two winks. Jax does two winks. So then you're like you look at his eyes and then you look there and you're immediately like surprised by Zubul being here. And then she looks this way, so your eye like kind of captures here, and then you see Jax again, and then go back to Pomni. Now Pomni's in the front of the screen. Yeah, that's cool. I can't afford a carrot. And it's just like the way that her eye like leads you into Jax's perspective, into Jax. Like, and Jax also has like a bit more like secondary action with his eyes. Oh, his like, I love his arms. Like, it's so fun. Yeah. I can't afford a carriage. So you see like this is kind of where you're looking between Jax and Pomni. And so that's why you look here. As Zool pulls out another gun. And then your attention was here. So now you're on Jax's hand. It goes up here. And then you go here to Pomni. You're so sweet upon the seat of a bicycle built for two. That was so fun. But and interesting here, you can see that like Jax has his gun like with the pistol out, and Pomni has kind of like held it cautiously to be like, oh, I don't want to accidentally shoot Jax. So this kind of like adds a bit more to my theory that like Jax was being quite honest that he doesn't care. He's just in it for the love of the game. And also, like, note here, this is not Zubul's room. This is like one of the background characters' room. Do the background characters' room? Is that Ming? No, that can't be Ming. Ming's blue. You know what they say about assuming? It makes an ath out of you and Ming. Okay. And then they reach back as like anticipation. And they grab each other's hands. I think there's a bit of like a blur here to make it to guide like your hand between these two poses to be like, oh, his hand was here and now it's here. What's going on? So this is just like a smear frame. Really nice smear frame. And then they rotate a couple times with like the hands still. Your focus is on their hands. So the fact that like when Pomni rotates, it immediately goes back to her hand. Now this is actually a very subtle camera change. I didn't notice this until I was like clipping like cutting these clips, but like they changed from the background character's room door to Zubul's room door, and then they lean into one another. Jax kind of goes from like here to here and then down, but Pomni goes from this to this to this, and it's just kind of a really nice way to go about it. She like kind of dips down, and you can see like their eyebrows are kind of like So cool, so cool. And just like the way Pomni's barrel is down, it's just there's so many little details here that I really appreciate a lot more having seen this. Yeah, and then you see Jax's face here, and then Jax's face is almost there, but mostly it's this way.
Oh wait, I have a key to Zubal's room.
Yeah, I there's one small thing about this key that I want to talk about. Also, I don't think Jax knew he had a key. I fully believe that, but like he just did it for the love of the game. Yeah, his eyes kind of shrink in realization, and then they go wide again, like almost immediately. Yeah, and then your eye is kind of caught by this blur in the eye, and then they do a little sparkle to make sure that you are there, and then you go to Jax's face again. Door, and then we focus here, and then it's kind of like a midpoint of like who you're gonna look at. I looked at Jax first, just because like he has a lot more negative space here, but also like Bomni's a solid choice. Tear gas is cool. They do like a squash and stretch to make sure we know it explodes, and just like this impact frame before everything goes white, and then just like the blurs that Jax has, and then he has like this pose with like his arms this way. You can really tell he's caught off guard, and being shot. Oh, and then they like show him getting shot, and then they hold on this for a second for you to like like digest what just happened, and then before he even touches the ground he gets shot a lot more, and he's like arms move in this, like I think he's repeating a lot of his poses again and again. Pomni also has a lot of these where like she gets shot in the head. That's so funny. But like she was about here and you're trying to like go here, and so that's why like you move upwards because Pomni was about here, and you see this gun, then your eye moves down to this gun, and you're seeing the bullet blast, and then you move this way, and you move this way again. So then they have a shot of Zubul here before they crash zoom out. So you kind of the guns kind of went like this, and then that, just to like guide your eye. And all these guns are so different because like Zubul, some of them have like delays. This one is consistently up. This one alternates with this one, and then this one is like mostly up, but there are some frames where it's like okay, it's not completely on. And Zubul moves this way, and then yeah, you kind of expect her to move in the same direction, so she'll come from the left to just kind of continue forward. Nice stuff. Nice stuff. Yeah. Sorry I rushed. I feel like I rushed through that a bit, but there's really nothing more I kind of want to say. I do like how the camera moves happen in time with the what's it called? With the music, just like dun dun dun, and then once the music stops, they pull up the hearts to show like how many hearts they have left. It's so cool. It's so fun. Let's do a quick analysis of their poses really quickly. Yeah, and just like just as a very quick thing, their the lack of the hearts they lost glow. So that catches your eye first. Hmm. Yeah, they both have really cool poses. Palmy's leg is just straight out. Oh, yeah, no. And Palm, like their eyes are looking weird. Jax looks haunted. I love how weird he looks. It's so fun. Yeah, no. This that was so much fun to just analyze. I might do Pomni I might do Ragatha and Kinger's scene another time. Uh but I think that's all I have time for right now. I definitely overestimated this. I thought, oh, I'll barely make it to like getting all three clips done. No, I could only get two done today. But I had so much fun with these, and it's just so nice. I hope you all enjoyed. I will be back in 2 weeks streaming something or the other. Um, but uh, yeah, I will see you next time.